I'm back. 1 day little hiatus, and the Super Bowl is over. So lucky I didn't have to preview the Super Bowl on Friday. We got to go over all the Sixer NBA trade deadline stuff, the buyout market, the Super Bowl, the halftime show. There's so much to talk about today to catch up from 1 day off. Trending in the AM, we get started live with your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill, depending on what platform you're watching it. Those like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow buttons wherever you are. I greatly appreciate it. It really means a lot to any of these great content creators. And if you hit those buttons, it really means a lot. Of course, congratulations to your Kansas City Chiefs, my man. I'm sure you're very happy this morning. I'm surprised you're awake this early in the morning after staying up late, probably partying through the streets of Fort Myers. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, everybody. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. Shoot me a follow if interested. And yes, last night, the Kansas City Chiefs did wrap up the 2023 NFL season by beating, oh, it's so sad, beating those San Francisco 49ers 25-22. And we're going to talk about the game a little bit, how it translates for the Eagles, obviously, because we can care less about the Chiefs and the 49ers here in Philadelphia. We just want to find out how we can beat them, how we can get back. And, all throughout watching the game last night, all I could think about is how the Eagles can get back there. All I kept thinking about is how the Eagles should have been competing against the Chiefs, not the 49ers. All I kept thinking about is those crybaby 49ers and players and fans and how they made so many excuses and they got there. They're just making more excuses. There's become one team that's more unlikable than the Cowboys in the last few years, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. And we saw that last night. We also today, we're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl and the Eagles and getting back at it like we do. The off season officially starts now for everybody, unofficially. We also got to cover the Sixers and the deadline moves because we weren't here on Friday to do it. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about today how easy everybody was triggered when I just made a simple Kyle Lowry running on empty comment on Twitter this weekend because it looks like Kyle Lowry is your newest Philadelphia 76er in the next day or two after the buyout market starts and stuff like that. So we got lots to get into. What's up, Brett? How you doing? Yes, the pizza shop was way busier than I expected it to be. I guess San Francisco versus Kansas City. I guess the Taylor Swift effect played into the business last night because we were definitely way busier than I thought. I didn't get home from the shop till some point in the first quarter, but that's that. But yes, it was a very busy day, and I got to get in there and do 300 more pizzas today. So if we lose Hassan, we just sign Chris Jones, right? Yeah, we're going to get into the Hassan Reddick news as well. It's something I've been talking about on this show since before the season even started, that Hassan Reddick might be entering his last season in Philadelphia already. And, reports by, I don't know if it was Pelissero or Rappaport, I think it was Rappaport, reported that Hassan Reddick and his agent have been given permission to seek a trade. It happens. His contract is one of those tough spots, so we might be right on with the lack of Hassan Reddick on this team next year. Keep your head up, Tupac. Yeah, man. Poor Debo. You hate to see it, right? Yeah, right. So using Debo's logic, 49ers Chiefs is an arrival because, yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh, man. Mark Moschatelli, what is up, Marky Mark? We don't besmirch Kyle Lowry on Train the AM. Dude, I know so many people were so in love with Kyle Lowry. Dude, you should see the tweet with the gas can empty sign on my Twitter page from a day or two ago. My man, I just said that we're not getting 2015 Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is running on empty. Sure, it's a great story, but so is Marcus Morris coming back here and playing for Kyle Lowry is not Kyle Lowry anymore. Kyle Lowry is closer to being Kyle Lowry from Bad Boys than he's Kyle Lowry, the basketball player. Anybody that thinks Kyle Lowry is going to provide anything of substance to the Philadelphia 76ers is insane. Kyle Lowry is washed. Kyle Lowry has literally nothing left in the tank. Good riddance of the 49ers. Absolutely. Couldn't have happened to a better team blowing Kyle Shanahan. For all we talk about the Kyle Shanahan system and Kyle Shanahan is genius. Kyle Shanahan is now blown 3 Super Bowl double-digit leads in his career. Maybe this whole not needing an elite quarterback that he lives by philosophy-wise isn't right. We're going to see. The 49ers got some tough decisions, and I couldn't be happier for them. And that was a top 3 Super Bowl, the game or the show? I know you were I forget. I know you had some quite comments on the show on Facebook yesterday. But it was a good it started out as a boring Super Bowl yesterday, but it was definitely entertaining as hell by the end. Chris Jones is a good case for MVP, saved 2 touchdowns with his pressure. Absolutely. Um, Chase Young, if the 49ers would have won, had a case. He was wrecking havoc. Ryan, good morning, my man. Hope you're more awake than I am this morning. Fletcher Cox, Fletcher Cox was all over social media. Yeah, he was quite happy. A lot of Eagles fans were quite happy with the outcome. And I know my man Ted Slazak, father-in-law of the year, right there, running through the streets. Did they grease the poles in Fort Myers so you didn't climb the poles like they would have in Philly? I don't know. I'm happy with Kyle. If all he is the 4th, 5th guard we signed him to be. Um, but you had Pat Beverly. Like, we're bringing in Kyle Lowry because we need a veteran presence that's going to provide toughness. But you had Pat Beverly and you got rid of him for campaign to a division or conference rival. Make it make sense. The trade deadline, I didn't get to do a show on Friday. Had a last second huge catering order for early in the morning on Friday, so I had to cancel it. I'll tell you something. The trade deadline for the Sixers was the most confusing NBA trade deadline of all time. You make big moves, you make bad moves, you trade away players. I have no idea what Daryl Morey was thinking. This whole Sixers era is fucked. It really is. Like, it's running on, just like Kyle Lowry is running on fumes, the process is running on fumes. And, we didn't get to talk about Friday, but Joel Embiid was not happy. He made a very subtle, dig at the Sixers organization. And let me tell you something. I shared it out and said, good for him. He should be pissed off. We see stars across the NBA and across sports all over, demand more out of their organizations, the superstars. And I shared out Joel Embiid's subtle dig at the Sixers, and everyone's like, bashing Joel Embiid, get rid of him. Like, we can't make people happy here, can we? Mitchy Poo. Good morning, my man. It's a busy weekend all over content creation world. 25-point, 10 and 10-point lead. Good job, Kyle. Way to forget about Chris McCaffrey. Chris McCaffrey had 160-ish all-purpose yards, but he had a big fumble in the game. I was ready to talk about running backs and Pacheco. I always want to say Pacheco, but I know it's Pacheco. Both with big fumbles in the game. So I was going to come on here and talk about how running backs matter again, but obviously quarterback play is what matters. And we saw yesterday the greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. There, I said it. Just doing his thing in the second half. Never out of it. Never too worried. Spags with less than 2 minutes called for a cornerback. Oh my God, that I actually if you go back and you rewatch that play in real time, Marshawn, I thought I heard a smack. Like, would it sound like someone hitting Purdy's helmet? And it was a perfectly timed play, but I was waiting to see a flag on the field. Then I saw the replay, and it didn't hit him in the head as much as I thought. But, man, Spagnuolo, I heard somebody yesterday say that Spagnuolo might be one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. He's a terrible head coach. That man is always coaching in the biggest games It helps being in the Chiefs, organization. But man, guy comes up big and makes the big calls in the big moments. He knows exactly when to do it. And we all knew this play was coming. There was no secret. They were talking about it on the telecast. Spags is going to dial it up. The dude, excellent defensive coordinator. If this was Doc still coaching, Lowry would be starting. Yeah, thank God. Doc still's only got one win in Milwaukee, I think. Oh my God. I actually feel bad for Dame Lillard, Milwaukee Bucks, and the fans of that organization. What they're in for. Pat Bev not saving the Bucks from Glenn Rivers. No. No, he's not. I'm still pissed that we traded away Pat Beverly. We got a better shooter, but we lost veteran depth. We lost grit. Pat Beverly has a lot more left in the tank than Kyle Lowry does. From the trade deadline, I don't think they know if he's back this year. Joel Embiid you're talking about. Yes, I know, and that's the problem. You made a buy now move, and it was a very good move getting Buddy Hield in here. People think because I forget what my comment was that I don't like Buddy Hield. I think he's a good player. I think he fits this team when fully healthy. And I had a good game on Saturday night. I get that. But I just don't know why you make the Buddy Hield move, then you trade away Pat Beverly. You trade away all these other pieces. You traded away Springer, who's playing meaningful minutes, to the Boston Celtics for a second-round pick. Like, what makes sense there? And Daryl Morey said something along the lines of, we didn't see him helping contribute over the next 2-3 years, but that one second-round pick is? Yeah, you might use that to trade in a package for another player. Second-round picks don't get you superstars. Like, the trade deadline for the Sixers made no sense. And trading Springer to the Celtics, could you imagine now the Celtics in a crunch moment in the NBA playoffs can go out there and drop Springer and Holiday in their backcourt to lock a team down defensively? Yeah, Springer ain't going to get the minutes he was getting here in Philly. But, man, talk about giving up on a kid for nothing super quick because you don't think he's going to help you in the next 2-3 years. Now, I'm not saying Springer's going to be the real deal, but the NBA trade deadline made zero sense for the Sixers. They didn't get better. They didn't get worse. They're kind of in limbo. And you done gone pissed off the franchise in Joel Embiid. A long comment coming as usual. That's fine. I try my best to read them as best I can, my man. It's all good. I don't like the feeling of being hostage of MVP, superstar, or Pro Bowl player. Just ask out if you want to win somewhere else. Excuse me. It's not being held hostage, Joel Embiid. It's, players do it all the time. Joel Embiid wants to stay here. He wants to be in Philly, but he wants to win as well. So, part one of Ryan's comment. Speaking of Hassan Reddick, we saw the 2022, the Eagles had an amazing pass rush, but still was a team that struggled at pass defense coverage. Yeah. Okay. So that's part one. I get that. Let's find part two somewhere down here. Part two. We'll catch up on it. Eagles defense seriously needs to focus on linebackers. And you know what? And great comments from you, Ryan. Last night you saw it in the Super Bowl. Linebackers matter. Linebackers in the NFL matter. And there was a lot of great linebacker play in the Super Bowl last night. McDuffie hit the ball on that play. That was the sound I heard. I heard a sound on that play. And a quick, in real time, I thought it was going to be his helmet that got hit. Big stage coordinator for sure. Did feel bad for Greenlaw. Yeah, you know what? Greenlaw is not got any friends here in Philadelphia. But yeah, I hate to see a player go down early in the Super Bowl the way Greenlaw did. Some people say karma's bitch, but whatever. You hate to see it. I don't cheer for injuries of anybody. Yes, Andy Reid did win 3 Super Bowls after leaving Philly, but he didn't win. It's not like he won them right away. Just remember that. I was reminded the other day that Andy Reid might have 3 Super Bowls, but he only has 3 Super Bowls because he's got one Patty Cakes Mahomes, just so you know. So he's one of the great coaches of all time, but he still's got that one little thing. Just like Bill Belichick didn't win anything without Tom Brady. So Kyle Lowry is not going to get a lot of playing time. I don't want him getting any playing time, Mitch. Lowry is better than Bev in the playoffs. I don't think so. Supposedly I'm wrong, I put out a tweet about Lowry in the playoffs being terrible last year. Supposedly he was good in the playoffs last year. It was 2 years ago that he stunk in the playoffs, and like 70 people chose to remind me about how little I know about basketball. I don't care what you say in my timeline. Not you, Mitch, but other people. Kyle Lowry stinks, Mitch. Okay? He's slow. He's out of shape. He hasn't hit a I pulled up his stat thing, and he's doing better overall than I thought this year. But let me just read Kyle Lowry's stats over his last 5 games with Miami Heat. Okay? January 21st, his last game with the Heat. Okay? They got blown out. He was a minus 17. He shot 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Game before that, they lost a 1-point game. He was a minus 7 in 24 minutes, 0 for 3 from deep. 117 against Toronto. They got blown out. 0 for 6 from 3. Game before that, overtime loss against Brooklyn. 0 for 2 from 3. In all these games, he's played 24 to 30 minutes. Game before that, he is literally 0 for his last 20 from deep. Okay? He is literally 5 of his last 40 from the floor overall. The guy can't shoot anymore. He is spent. Give me 10 Pat Beverleys over 20 Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry makes a great story. But you had a great story, Marcus Morris. You got rid of him. It's unfortunate. You didn't need Kyle Lowry. Get Kyle Lowry out. The trades that Morey made felt like precursor for other trades. That is true, Marshawn. I kept every trade, trading away Daniel House for a pick, trading away this. I felt like something else was happening, and it didn't. Now, I don't know if something else was on the table, and it just fell through. But, man, it's a shame. Trade deadline was get a guy who fits Joel but replenishes seconds for the offseason because they didn't want to go all in if he's not coming back. You got rid of 4 second-round picks. You got 2 of them back. So you lost 2 second-round picks. But still, I don't get it. The Springer, the new Isaiah Joe, I'm not going to go that far on Springer. But why would you make that move? Tell me why that move makes sense. The stupid bowl was dumb. Yeah, you're happy just because you called the 49ers frauds all year. But you know what? Your Bills didn't make it. So Springer has no offensive game. The dude's in his second year in the league. He's already shown to be a lockdown defender. And you gave him to your rival Boston Celtics for 1 second-round pick. Mitch, that makes no sense. I just sucked and seized the whole entire game without the Bills. A lot of Eagles fans did the same thing. How can I buy Ryan's book? I don't get that one. Sucks what happened to Greenlaw. It does suck. You hate to see it. Seeing the Niners with fast linebackers is a pipe dream. Man, I know the 49ers lost, but you watch those guys play linebacker there in San Francisco, and you're like, same thing with the Chiefs, cornerback play, safety play. There's great defensive line play last night on both sides of the ball. Chase Young, who almost got benched, played great for the 49ers, wrecking havoc in the first half. But, man, the linebacker and secondary play, man, Howie Roseman, you best be watching that game last night and know what you need. McDuffie and Snead, possibly the best quarterback tandem, and they're young. Insane McDuffie has 2 rings. Yeah, exactly. And they are so good. Howie Roseman needs linebackers, he needs safeties, but he's got to figure out this cornerback room and defensive back room big time. Andy is only as good as his quarterback and his defensive coordinator. He's got 2 of the best right now, if the best. Right. But Bill Belichick was the same way. Great quarterbacks, great coaches together. You don't want me besmirching Kyle Lowry, but Mark's ready to besmirch Andy Reid after he just won his 3rd Super Bowl ring. So, now I'm just going to make even more negative comments about Kyle Lowry. The thing that hurts is that Andy beat us last year in the biggest stage. That does hurt. It does. What's up, Eric? Good morning to you. Don't forget, Core 12, Gatekeeper, the shirts, wherever they are, there they are, Core 12. And, of course, my favorite, stop with the Kyle Lowry love, people. And, of course, the OG original, not the knockoff Fairway to Heaven shirt available in the shirt store. There you go, guys. See, I like to plug that when I can. Hey, look, Mr. Irrelevant came up small in the Super Bowl. Can we retire that narrative now? Yeah. Look, now the 49ers have a tough thing to do because do they pay Purdy or not? Obviously, Shanahan's system has come up small in the biggest game 3 times because they don't have that elite quarterback. Really tough call what to do there with Mr. Irrelevant. I thought we were the only team that can't cover motion. Niners were confused. Who was covered? Yeah, that Hardman touchdown looked eerily familiar to a Super Bowl last year of a wide. It was basically almost the same exact play to the other side of the field. Pat Bev, 27-38 in the playoffs. Think it's more deck chairs in the Titanic. Oh man. Brett, as per CBS, is not a game manager. He's a game executive. Yeah, I heard that. So glad Swifty Bowl is over. Will Swifty, if they're still together, be as big of a focus next year? It won't be the same. We'll be together a lot longer. I don't know. Yeah, I know, Brett. $60 million and 5 firsts come draft night off season. Yeah, so you still gotta trust Daryl Morey to do the work. I don't. Kyle is going to lead the Sixers in flops. Yeah, people complain about Joel Embiid's flops. Damn, Kyle Lowry flops. Kyle Lowry's a guy that we complain about bitching and moaning at every single second, every non-call. But now he's a Sixer, and he's God now to Philly. God, you can't besmirch him without a million people coming at you in your mentions. We can't really shame Bills fans when we know the product our football team rolled out. Absolutely. You're without a doubt right there, Marshawn. Chris Jones is a big stage, big moment lineman. Didn't he have to hold out to start the year, too, for more money? My God. Heck of a player. Third year for Springer. I thought it was his second. Whatever. Springer is young. Springer is potential. And you gave him away to the Boston Celtics for 1 second-round pick. It does not make sense. You're telling me you couldn't have included him in another trade and got something better? It makes no sense to me. None. I don't like it. Where did I watch the Super Bowl? The first 5-10 minutes at the pizza shop, the rest at my house. Great job. Thank you, Adam. Much appreciated. My guess is all 50 wings are gone, Adam. I'm guessing you housed all 50. My main man, that is right. What is up, Patty Bernard? Happy birthday. I know you celebrated a birthday over the weekend, Patty. So good for you. Hope you had fun. No Super Bowl for the Eagles next. Maybe if we lower the expectations, then we can exceed them. So it's like you under promise and over deliver is better than over delivering and under promising. I don't think that's where George was going with that comment, but I'm gonna translate it to that way to make myself feel better this morning. All these moves was to get Bojan from Detroit. Pistons wanted Tobias, and Daryl would not part ways. Dude, I only wrote down 4 things to talk about outside the Super Bowl on my list here, Mark. I wrote down the Reddick trade information, which we touched on. We'll touch on more this week. Kyle Lowry, Buddy Hield. And the 4th thing I wrote down is Tobias Harris. I love Tobias Harris. You all know that. Tobias Harris is my guy. Always will love the guy. But the fact that he's going to play out the full part of his 5 years of his contract in Philly, shocking to me. And, I'm okay with not trading Tobias now. With Joel being injured, you need a locker room leader. That is Tobias Harris. But, man, Tobias is what held us up from getting Bojan and Alec Burke. If you would have made that move on top of all the other moves, you would have completely reshaped the roster, but I would have been a little happier. It would have made more sense, the other moves, if you would have done that as well. You don't really win without great players and staff, though. Yeah, exactly. I'm only as good as my subordinates. We're all only as good as our subordinates at our jobs. I got shirts out there, man. I showed them last week. 14 watching, 8 likes, do your part. That is right. There's 24 people watching, but only 14 on that one YouTube page. Because right now we're streaming on 2 YouTube pages. Please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe on my personal YouTube page, Trending in the AM. I'd appreciate that as well. We're on 3 different Twitter pages. We're on Facebook right now. But yes, please hit that like, hit that share button for me. I appreciate it. I don't blame Hassan for asking for a trade. Love the guy, but I know he's sick of break, but don't stop chunk plays. No, I think the reason, Eric, that Hassan Reddick is being given permission to seek a trade, I doubt he went and said, I want a trade. All right? He and Howie have spoken and know that Hassan Reddick wants a pay raise in this offseason. He's not going to play on the last year of his deal next year. So if he and Howie are not on the same page number-wise, Howie's gonna be like, go find somebody else that's gonna give you the money you want. We'll work out a trade. We'll get some draft composition or compensation back, and you can go make more money elsewhere. They drafted Nolan Smith. Love it or hate it, they drafted him to be the ultimate replacement for Hassan Reddick. I've been saying it since the day Hassan Reddick or that Nolan Smith was drafted last year, that Hassan Reddick was entering the last year of his deal in Philadelphia unofficially. It's just the way it's going to be. It is, and it's unfortunate. And maybe the trade market's not what Hassan Reddick thinks it is, and Hassan Reddick will come back to Philly. It could happen, but that is just what it is. Lowry knows how to get to the championship. Yeah, like 25 years ago. Kyle Lowry started playing professional basketball. I'm 43. He's the only guy on the Sixers older than me. I know he's only 38, but he probably plays slower than me. Doug Peterson ran that motion play on us last year. Thanks, Dougie P. Yeah. Daryl is a lot better than what's out there. Not defending him, but he has set up this team for the present and the immediate future. I disagree. I got nothing positive to say about my man, Daryl Morey. He's okay. He is one of maybe he's not as bad as I claim Daryl Morey is, but Daryl Morey to me is one of the most overrated executives in basketball. He's definitely overrated in Philadelphia. I mean, people put Daryl Morey up on this pedestal across the NBA circles. He's considered one of the best. He's won executive the year before. But the dude has not built a single championship team yet. And he's been doing this for quite a while now. So the Daryl Morey love, I don't buy it. Jones missed the first game for your holdout. That's right. I know he was holding out. I couldn't remember if he missed a game or not. I'm not up on the details of my Kansas City Chiefs, but it is what it is. Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Yeah, not as much problems with the Vegas. I thought you'd see players get in trouble in Vegas or something, but it didn't happen. Very interesting. Patty Bernard is always funny. I love the Gobbler. You're sounding like a Ben Simmons fanboy when he was in his third year in his career. Well, hold on a second, Mitch. You want to go find you want a cold take, expose me? Go find some of my Ben Simmons takes, man. I was so dead set against trading him. Well, year 3 up till the Hawks series in the playoffs, I never wanted to move on from Ben Simmons. I thought Ben Simmons' ceiling was so much higher than Joel Embiid's his first couple years in the league. I was a Ben Simmons stan before I was the beard enough. I'm just saying. So yeah, I've made some unpopular comments about Ben Simmons way in the past that if someone was good enough could probably expose me on my timeline. Or Embiid needs to shut. See, I got a lot when I talked about Embiid calling out the team. People told me to shut it down. Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading it wrong. He needs to shut it down. I thought you meant shut up. That's why I got to read the whole thing. Morey is a clown. I agree with that. Turns every team into a glass cannon. People telling me that Joel Embiid needs to shut up and stop making comments. Everybody else that demands trades or demands more out of their front office, good for them, standing up. But then when Joel Embiid does it, oh, he's a troll. He's immature. Grow up. That made no sense to me. Eagles won't be first in the running for top players, free agents for 5-6 years. Ryan, the Eagles have a crap ton of cap space, and there's going to be a lot more available. There's opportunities for them to get north of $50 million in cap space this offseason with cuts and restructures and stuff. So the Eagles are sitting pretty, and they have a very attractive team with an attractive situation to come to for free agents. So the Eagles are going to spend money. It's just where are they going to spend it, and are they going to do it in the right things? Because if you watch the Super Bowl, you clearly see the Eagles defense needs a lot of investment. Linebackers, safety, cornerback, more edge. You can never have too much. So there is going to be some money spent there. Morey stood on business. Unfortunately for us, we don't have a Quentin Grimes type of young player. Because of Morey. Tobias looking horrible after he's not traded. Call me shocked. Look, Tobias has been sick. Maxey's been sick. He kind of played really well on Saturday, but he played awful the game before that. Look, Tobias, It's not like it's his first year. It's his 5th year in Philly. The ebbs and flows of a season for Tobias Harris, they are what they are. But he is still a locker room leader, and he's still somebody that can get you buckets sometimes. Maxey doesn't value or Morey doesn't value team chemistry or locker room leadership. That is obvious by him trading away the guys he traded. But I'm told it's part of a big plan. So, you know what? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Reshaped it for the better without Joel, Bojan, Burks, Heald, and Campaign really saving us. Don't forget to throw Kyle Lowry's name in there. It's not saving us from playing the play-in. We're 2-8 over our last 10. My guess is I think we're only 2. I could pull this up really quick. 2 games over the play-ins. I know we're 2 games up on the Pacers. So we're 2.5 games up over the Magic in the 7 seed. Just let that sink in for a second. All right? Yo, any of these guys aren't saving us. Nobody is. I wouldn't be surprised if we fall to like the 8th or 9th seed. Why do you want Travis Kelce to retire? Travis Kelce ain't retiring. Stop. And we have to talk about Travis Kelce shoulder tackling Andy Reid on the sideline. Running into him. Andy didn't see it. Almost knocks the guy over. Yells in his face. And nothing comes of it. Dude, then you see A.J. Brown. Somebody hacked his account supposedly. But tweeting out that if that was him, I got run out of town. Man. I think A.J. Brown actually deleted his Twitter page after that. Guys. Travis, man. Can't believe nothing came of that. Spags called game last night. It should have been. You know what? Can you give a coordinator an MVP? I'm telling you. Another masterful for performance from Steve Spagnuolo in a big game. Big game Spags. If I was a Kansas City, content creator, I'd be making that T-shirt up. Big game Spags. Why not? I have no problem with any NFL player getting their money outside of Deshaun Watson. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone should remember the name Byron Evans. I agree, Brett. You don't have guaranteed contracts. You want to get your pay raise when the time's up. You do it. So I have no problem with him. And I know Howie Roseman doesn't want to get rid of Hassan Reddick, but he just knows big picture at his age. Is it really worth him giving Hassan Reddick a 3-year extension where probably $70 million? I think he's scheduled. I can pull it up pretty quickly. Let me see. What is Hassan Reddick's contract? There it is. He is on the books next year, Hassan Reddick, for what is it here? Only $15 million. Okay, $15.6 million. He's on the books for next year. He's worth way, 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 way more than that. So Hassan Reddick's going to get the pay raise that he deserves. Here or not, but you think about the top 5 guys. I remember reading make like north of $20 million, $25 million. The edge rushers, the top guys that get after the quarterback, and he's making 15. So he's going to be looking for a 3-year, $70 million extension with maybe $40 million guaranteed. Howie just might not. He drafted Nolan Smith cheaply. Howie might just say no. He's got to pay Smitty. He's got to pay Dickerson. He's got to reshape the entire defense. Spending that much on him might not make sense. Read the tea leaves. Either they have supreme confidence in Smith or we're not competing this year. Howie's 3-year window is about to close. Oh, man. Look. Yeah. The window could close very fast. But see, the thing is, with the Eagles, the window doesn't stay closed for long. We never go into the 4 to 5 year rebuild here in Philadelphia. Howie finds a way to retool over rebuild. So even if the initial window closes, as long as Jalen Hurts stays as a top-ish tier quarterback, and I say ish, I'm not putting him in the top 3 or 4 anymore, but he's still a top 10 quarterback to me. Bottom end of that, but he still is. Your window is going to stay sort of open. You maybe it closes, but you don't lock it because it's going to reopen really quickly. Probably could have got most of everything addressed, trying what we traded to Bulls for Draymond. Yeah, I mean, we could have done so much more. I mean, think about the Bulls, man. Bulls, if anybody had a worse trade deadline than the Sixers, it was the Bulls. They made no moves. You kept all those expiring contracts. You kept Al Caruso, DeRozan, Drummond. They could have moved those guys. They ain't going nowhere. But they didn't. Phil hates on Lowry, who will not play here, but he loves Crumble Tobias. Hey. I don't love Tobias Harris, the basketball player. I love Tobias Harris, the person. He's a good dude. I don't hate Daryl, but he is super annoying. Well, I don't hate anybody. I love everybody, even every troll that came after me all weekend long on Twitter. I love everybody. But I do dislike the unnecessary respect that Daryl Morey's done. Like, we've crushed Howie Roseman throughout his career in Philadelphia. Whenever. Sometimes we love him, sometimes we hate him. At least Howie Roseman's won a Super Bowl and taken his team to another. Just saying. I was saying Morey was overrated last year, and you were. I have never defended Daryl Morey. I don't know who A is. I have never said one positive thing about Daryl Morey. Find me proof that I said something positive. I called it crap the second they hired him, and that picture of Morey and Doc Rivers in front of the window was posted on social media. I'm like, this is not going to work out. I've been saying it since day one. Daryl Morey has never won a thing. So, just clearing the air there. I have never defended Daryl Morey. Who is a GM available right now who has built a championship team? Those bonfires. I don't know. I'm just saying. People put Daryl Morey up in this upper echelon, and he is not upper echelon. Crazy how the field was so good to play on compared to when the Eagles. Eagles fans are still not over the field. Never over the field of last year. They're just not. Then my man Ed Kratz, Sports Illustrated writer. Well, I don't even know where he writes now because it's Sports Illustrated still thing. I don't know. Ed Kratz, beat reporter for the Eagles, put out a tweet last night late in the game. This was about the time frame when James Bradbury got flagged. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why torture us? We're still not over the field, and that James Bradbury penalty last night. Want me to find your old opinions like I found when John Ritchie told everyone the Eagles should draft Zach? Yeah, I saw that. Oh, man. Yeah. You know, we got to get into that later this week. I forgot about that. We're going to get into it tomorrow, maybe later today. But how John Ritchie just tried to crap all over Britton Covey. We'll get into that. But find any of my old. I got so many bad takes. But see, the difference between me and a lot of other people out there is I'm willing to admit my bad takes. I make a lot of bad takes. Most of my bad takes come from in the heat of the moment. People don't understand. Fans have things that they say in the heat of the moment. But me, I don't mind saying, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong a lot. Simmons stan, Tobias lover. Oh, man. Because I have bad takes, dude. That's what it is. But my take that Kyle Lowry is a chump is not a bad take. Kyle Lowry is not a good basketball player anymore. Drew, what is up, my man? Good morning to you. Man, you guys have woken me up. I'm dead tired. But man, I'm rolling right now. We are about 38 minutes. I didn't know how I was going to get through the first 45 of this show. I didn't know. I'm exhausted right now. But man, Giannis stood up to the front office and it got them Doc Rivers. Yeah, true. But don't always, you know, what do they say? Be careful what you wish for, Mitch. Well, Giannis wished for something, and look what he got. You know, it's like when you rub the lamp and the genie pops out, and you're not specific enough with your wish, and it all backfires. That's what happened to Giannis. We got a book here from my man Ryan. Bill, Sixers, Daryl Morty. I like the spelling error there. Daryl Morty is an idiot because he now has them in a situation where they have to focus their money and cash based on bets. I mean, Paul George is going to be the move, and that's a bad move. That's going to backfire too. Sixers be team depending on vets outside of Maxey. Yeah. There goes my pen. Oh. Can't not have the pen in my hand here. You're spot on. We're tough. We're in a tough spot, and your move now is to go out and spend big on Paul George, who's washed as well at this point, injury prone. It's not 5 years ago Paul George anymore. I'm not sure sitting pretty is the word I would use. There are a lot of positions of concern. Won't be easy filling them. Just saying. Yeah, for sure. Tobias been sick the last 5 years, and the Tobias hate. I hate it. This guy's Tobias. Yeah, I love Tobias. He's a good leader. He's a solid player. He got overpaid. Sorry. All four athletes getting the money, whether they're deserving it or not. If UA offered me millions of dollars that I'm not worth right now, I'm taking it. And I'm running and cashing that check. Leave him in the locker room next game. Stop. What you're going to tell me, Marshawn? You're going to tell me that what's his name, Ricky Council? Is that who blew up for the Sixers last game? He's the real deal, right? You'd rather Ricky Council playing, and Ricky Council actually played really well on Saturday night, like really, really well. But you're going to tell me Ricky Council's the answer. Tobias 8 threes in the last 4 games. It's one thing if he's shooting, if his shooting goes cold, he's just not taking shots he needs to. Absolutely agree with you on that. He's just not fully healthy, I don't think. Kelce screaming at Andy is well deserved. Andy's playbook for a big part of the game was taken from the Mark. You just love besmirch. You always tell me don't besmirch this guy, don't besmirch that guy. That's a fine Italian American, upstanding American. But man, your hatred for Andy Reid is so obvious, Mark. How about Big Dom on the sidelines? Yeah. Good for Big Dom. Sixers are going to lose by how many points tonight? Who do they play tonight? I have the box score from Saturday's game up. I don't even know who they play tonight. Cavaliers, I think, right? Yeah, they play in Cleveland tonight. Cleveland is a 9.5-point favorite over us tonight. Oh my God, man! 3 years, $45 million for what? Hassan Reddick? Yeah, we went over that already. Hulk, smash that like button, please do. Never enough likes on this video, whether you're watching on Facebook, either YouTube page, any of the Twitter pages. Likes, shares, retweets, subscribes, follow, subscribe to the Trending in the AM YouTube page, which is linked in the description of this page, is my personal page. Please do all that. I greatly appreciate it. Slippery in the logos cause shaky kicks and blew out Greenlaw's Achilles. I don't know what blew out his Achilles. It's a damn shame that happened. Howie is the master of the hard reset. Yeah. Quick reset. Still amazing. Olmec got a first-round pick. Yeah, I missed half the deadline. I couldn't even have told you where he got traded. I remember seeing his name, and that was it. Super Bowl stunk because your Bills weren't playing. Tobias Harris, the person, is literally 6'9". He's a big guy. Yeah. I never trusted Howie Roseman drafting players. He's been better at it over the last few years. He has adjusted. He's evolved as a general manager. Now, the next part of his evolution is realizing after watching last night's Super Bowl again that linebackers do matter. A secondary does matter. So hopefully, Howie goes out there and addresses those positions with all that cap space that he's going to have. Bob Myers is weirdly helping the Redskins. Actually, I do remember reading that. We are so far behind on comments here. Who knew after firings of Andy Reid, he damn near won 4 Super Bowls? Yeah. And had to go get Patrick Mahomes, but yeah. Niners fans calling rig on the Super Bowl. Of course they are. I don't know if this is real or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. Big Al. I saw this comment come in like a while ago. And we're just getting caught to you. They did a 15-minute segment pregame on how they made changes to the field. Dude, I was neck deep in pizza and wing sauce last night, making food for a crap load of Kennett Square people. So I watched no pregame. None whatsoever. In my 5th, 6th grade, girls won a playoff game when I brought crumble cookies. We should have traded Tobias for them. Man, Darryl Morey won the hearts of popcorn Sixers fans with an attention span of a mosquito. Get happy just because he made a move. There are so many Sixers fans that think that he just dominated the trade deadline, that I'm an idiot that doesn't know basketball. Blah, 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 blah. An above average player who unfortunately was grossly overpaid and has not complained one time. Hey, yo, this year from Mark sums up my opinions of Tobias. Tobias hate's not necessary because this is exactly how I did. Mark, I wish I knew you're free today. I would have loved to have you on the show. It's been far too long since me and Mark have been on a screen together. I think Daryl is hoping one of the OG or Siakam doesn't resign with the team they were traded to. Yeah, I guess. No move is ever good enough for the Sixers fans, but Pat Bev and Springer traded. I didn't say it set us back 10 years. I said it doesn't make sense. Make the move make sense. That's all I'm saying. The moves didn't make sense. Just tuning in. What is up, Dave? How you doing? Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this for over a year since the draft of last year. I've been talking about it, that he was possibly going to get traded this offseason. And it's, to me, it's just a formality. He needs an extension. What he's looking for, how he probably won't want to pay. If you can find a suitable trade partner that'll pay you and then it will give us a return for you, great. Otherwise, we'll try to work something out. The Hassan Reddick thing is just obvious was just obviously something that was going to get announced at some point here. Ricky Council. The Ricky Council hype, man, is worse than the Isaiah Joe hype. It's worse than the Charles Bassey hype, man. Good for him. Good for Council, man. He looks like a good young player. And if the season is where I think it is for the Sixers, let him play. See if he can develop and see if he can figure something out. Maybe you've got a gem there. He did. That's fine. No problem. And you know what? You're not winning a title this year. The season's basically over. So roll him out there 25 minutes a night. See for next year if you've got a bench piece in Ricky Council. Let him figure it out. Jason Kelce meeting Ice Spice was the content I didn't know I needed. Jason Kelce, I want to shout out Jason Kelce's wife. Okay? Because it don't matter how many times they're in the Chiefs box with Taylor Swift, supporting her brother-in-law, Jason's brother. She refuses to wear Kansas City Chief gear. Even Jason had a Kelce or Chief shirt on. Kelce's wife refuses. She was rocking University of Cincinnati gear last night. She refuses to show support to any team but her man's team. That's what a wife does right there. I love it. Zoe what? Yeah, that wasn't the field that blew out Greenlaw's Achilles. Didn't slip, just position he was in. That's what I thought. I just thought it was one of those things. I love pizza. Most people do. Maybe bring back Ed Stefanski. No, pass. Aaron Rodgers must be confused how Mr. Pfizer had 9 catches for 93 yards and took quarterback's shoulder out. Yeah, man, dude, when that cornerback hit him in the shoulder, dude, I just felt the pain on that cornerback's shoulder immediately. For sure. Love the Fletch blasted Debo and got the last word, man. You hate to see it. Yeah. I wonder what out prime player got Maury's undivided attention now. What out of prime player? Yeah. I mean, I think from what I remember from all the trades, they cleared up room to get up to 3 buyout guys, depending on contract. So Kyle Lowry's just one, which means there's opportunity to get 2 more washed up players if you wanted to. Hell, I think because Marcus Morris got traded from the team we traded him to, Indiana, to another trade team, and then got released, that technically we could bring Marcus Morris back. That would be something, wouldn't it? If Dow sucks at his primary role, then Tobias is beyond horrific in his primary role. All right. You know what? It's funny. I'll give you a little bit on that one. Tobias gets outplayed by a G leaguer, and this guy defends him. Always an excuse for Houdini. Oh, man. I love it. Today's going exactly as I planned it would go, for sure. Exactly how I planned today to go. Fletch is my guy. Fletch from the top rope on Debo. Dropping the Macho Man elbow off the top rope. Man, that would hurt coming from Fletcher, wouldn't it? A Macho Man elbow drop. Last thing I remember saying last night, not frauds in your face. Gotcha. Kylie is a ride or die. Dude, she's perfect. She don't fall for the Taylor Swift fanfare. She stays away. She love it. Love to see it. Won't rock anything that doesn't support her man. I love it. Ice Spice has had more screen time than Taylor Swift. How much did her management pay? Yeah. Dude, I couldn't, I heard people on Twitter saying Ice Spice was in there. I didn't know which one Ice Spice was. I couldn't have told you who any of those people were. I actually Google searched it before the show here, and I already forget. I think one of them was a Gilmore girl. I think one was her stylist. I don't know. I didn't know who any of those people were with Taylor. Call me whatever. The one person I did recognize was Alicia Keys when she came out on the Usher. Usher's not my guy. I'm not an Usher guy. He's more of a dancer than a singer, in my opinion. He does really well. He puts an entertaining show on. I thought the halftime show was entertaining, just not my cup of tea. But as soon as Alicia Keys comes out, I'm a huge Alicia Keys fan. Fantastic voice, fantastic singer, performer. That saved it. Obviously, a Ludacris yet. A few other people out there. It was good. It wasn't like people were out there saying it was the greatest of all time. It wasn't. People were out there saying it was the worst of all time halftime show. It wasn't. It was a good show. It just wasn't, whatever. I saw somebody joke, what are the odds if Usher will show his abs? And he, of course, took his shirt off middle of the show, which is very typical of him. The roller skating thing around the stage, that was pretty cool. Usher is a hell of a dancer, and he entertains. Good. Not great, not bad. Tobias is the fourth option on this team, regardless of circumstances. Yeah, and that's fine. It's not his fault he's paid like the first option. And Taylor's dad looks like he fell into the inventory bin of the Chiefs fan store, the discount rack. Ricky Council is a nice developmental player. He's a Nick Nurse kind of guy. Sure. For sure. And you know what? Now that we're not gunning for a title this year, I mean, they're not going to tell you that. Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey are going to tell you they're trying to win a title, but they're not. You could try to develop him the rest of this year. You could have done that with Jaden Springer, too, and you chose not to. Greenlaw pulled a KD pregame last season. When Greenlaw did it, it kind of made me think of there was a kicker, one of the Grammaticas, that broke his leg celebrating a field goal kick. It's kind of what I felt. What happened? He was just like jumping up down, too excited, ran out there and just blew that at Achilles out. 49ers lost the Super Bowl. They should have an epic meltdown like we had. They should. They have a tough offseason, mister. You got to pay Brock, or you got to go find another quarterback. And the system, the Kyle Shanahan system, has now blown 3 Super Bowl double-digit halftime leads. Maybe it's time he settles on a franchise quarterback and develops him. Brock Purdy didn't look bad last night, but he looked like the ultimate game manager. Not going to win because of him. Not going to lose because of him. Yeah, Phil gets as soon as the show ends, right to the pizza shop. Not even. I'm taking the phones off the hook. I got to make 300 pizzas today. They got to be done by 3:00. Oh my god, I can't even think about. it. Post Malone had the best Cowboys coat. Yeah, Cowboys made the Super Bowl yesterday. Yeah, can't be fighting on this day after the Niners lost. We gotta band together as Eagles Nation because the 49ers lost. They feel the pain we did. It is what it is. Anyone else see how many great KC players are free agents now? They do. Both teams in the Super Bowl have a very tough offseason ahead of them. The one thing I think with the both teams, at least neither of them seem to be losing coordinators. So at least in the coaching ranks, both teams will have some stability, which is a positive thing. We lost our coordinator, so you embrace the script. I don't think that was not the original script to start this season. As soon as Travis and Taylor got together, the writers got into a room, tore it up, and they had to do a last-second script rewrite to appease people. Andy has 3 rings in the 49ers lose. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I'm just tired. I don't feel great because I'm exhausted beyond belief. Let's get back to shitting on the Niners. Sixers are done regardless. Let's talk Reddick replacement. As of now, you got Hassan Reddick and you got Nolan Smith. And Howie Roseman won't let Reddick walk without having, he's not going to go into next season with just Nolan Smith. I want to make that clear. They drafted Nolan Smith as a replacement for Reddick, but Nolan Smith's not ready to step into Hassan Reddick's shoes. Nolan Smith, I don't think, is ready for a 15-sack breakout year. But he's going to be part of the rotation, and they're going to bring somebody else in. Nolan Smith will get more snaps next year. Brandon Graham will probably be gone. He wants to be back, but we'll see. Fletcher Cox will be gone. Milton Williams could be gone. So I don't know what they do with Reddick, and I don't know what they do with the line. But they've invested 3 first-round picks in the last 2 years in Smith, Davis, and Carter. Those guys got to step up and earn their keep. Plain and simple. I don't like Debo. Nobody likes Debo. Debo don't like Debo. Maybe. Maybe not. Ice Spice looks like Annie trying to break away from being a Disney kid star. Yeah. I like that. Looks like Miss Flan. I was just waiting for her to say Miss Flanagan. See, I know Annie. I got roasted on my critique on Usher. Ended strong now. Yeah, I mean, it was all right. I don't think it was as bad as you said it was. My brother with beautiful hair said it was bad as well. I didn't think it was awful. I'm just not an Usher fan. But I can look at it and watch it and realize it was a very entertaining. People want to see that kind of entertainment at the Super Bowl, the casuals. They don't want to see, everyone keeps calling for Metallica. 90% of the people that watched the Super Bowl halftime show last year would not tune into Metallica, and you wouldn't get the viewing that you did for Metallica. Just say. Lively is an actress who married Ryan Reynolds. Oh, I know that. I couldn't have told you what she looked like, though. I had no clue what she looked like. Maybe I live under a rock, but I had no clue. I've been in love with Alicia Keys for years. She looked great last. She did, and Usher really snuggled up close last night. Alicia Keys was nice to see. She is so talented. She just is. Ice Spice just looked for a girl wearing an orange Ronald McDonald wig. Was it Annie or was it Ronald McDonald wig? Which one? I don't know which one was funnier. But they're both pretty accurate right there. Wasn't even the best rap halftime. That was Snoop. I absolutely agree with you on that. But is Usher considered a rapper? Like, is he really considered that? Because I don't really think he rapped last night. So I don't think you consider it a rap halftime show last night. You could just call it a pop entertainment halftime show. Something like that. Gotta fight for your right. That's right. All I can think of when Travis got the mic and started, whatever on the mic there after the game, it's like Tay was like, "Oh man, you're embarrassing me." But man, before he got the chance to talk, my wife pointed it out. Travis looked like he was huffing and puffing back there. I thought Travis Kelce was going to have a heart attack back there, waiting for his opportunity to talk on the mic. And then he comes out on the mic. He's like, "Ah!" It's like he did some speed or something like that before jumping up there on the stage. Looked like the Ultimate Warrior the way he was all fired up there. But you got to fight for he got teed up for that so badly. What's his name? The announcer totally set him up for that. For a halftime show, I watched Pawn Stars. Idiot. Chumley was on. What is he not on? Ice Spice sat next to Taylor Swift and did a great job acting like she enjoys watching football. She should get an Oscar. Yeah. I wonder how much Taylor Swift cared about football before Travis Kelce. Like, she's a good, wholesome girl, she seems like, but man, she's quite the football fan now. Martin Gramatica was the Bucs one. Okay, there's multiple Gramaticas that were kickers in the NFL, I think. Bad Body 50 Cent. It wasn't Dad Bod 50 Cent. I just like to call him 53 Cent last year. Wrapping upside down. He had Eminem. I wrote it all. It was Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, and Eminem last year. Or 2 years ago. Not last year. That was an elite one. But also, the thing is, that group of guys, I was a Dre fan. I still am a Dre fan, Snoop fan. 50 Cent was okay, but Mary J. Blige was amazing always throughout her career. Eminem, I think, is one of the most, fascinating artists because he's just evolved so many different times. This year, Usher, entertaining. I put it in like when the Bruno Mars performances have happened. I think he's been in 2 Super Bowl halftime shows, Bruno Mars. I'm not a Bruno Mars fan, but I get it. He's an entertaining person. He puts on a show. Usher put on a show. I'd put Usher's show last night ahead of Rihanna's from last year. Rihanna singing solo by herself did nothing for me. Watched the highlights and halftime show this morning. So you didn't even watch anything last night, Drew. Good for you. Pitchers and catchers report tomorrow, I think, Wednesday. Baseball season's right there. We are going to do a show later this week where we just break down the entire Phillies lineup potential. I'm ready for baseball season. I am. And watch that algorithm just plummet to the ground like it always does whenever I talk baseball. 49ers players admit they didn't know the new overtime rules while the Chiefs were preparing in training camp for them. Jeff Schwartz. I won't lie, those overtime rules were very confusing. If the game's not going to end because it runs out because the Chiefs were still on their first drive and had the opportunity, why put the time clock up on the screen? Just do something with like the college does where it's 1 versus 1 like that, back and forth. The clock really was confusing. But yeah, I, I don't blame it because the new rules, whatever. But yeah, everybody should know the rules. $500 super chat would be nice today. I still got to go make the 300 pizzas though. Once again, Shanahan hasn't won anything. That's true. Not gonna lie. Good morning. Good luck making 300 pizzas. I need luck. I need help. K1, late to the program, just in time for the reset. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, subscribe button, retweet button, follow button, wherever you're watching. Get those buttons clicked. We got over 30 people watching across all the platforms right now. Keep dropping those comments. I promise I'll get caught up here before the show is over on all this. Not wasting my time if it wasn't the Eagles family. I get you, my man. 12 likes, that's it. This chat is failing me. I am not failing you. You guys are failing me. Hear anything from your brother? He hasn't said a word. I got a text message from my father-in-law. He's already commented on the show because he's the Chiefs guy. How happy he is this morning. Remember there was a Hollywood strike last year. Yeah. So, Romo finally made to the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's funny. I like it. I'm just depressed about Charlie Hoffman. Man, I got a lot to talk about golf-wise tomorrow night, K1. We got lots going on tomorrow with it. Golf was very frustrating this weekend. Brian Burns, Daniel Hunter, perhaps. I don't know what we're talking about there. Reddick for Surtain and a second-round pick. You wish, Dave, that was enough to get Patrick Surtain. If that's all it takes, man, I want whatever you're smoking there. Nolan Smith is not Reddick's replacement. He might not even stay as an edge rusher. I don't know. I think that was the plan. I don't know if he is, but that's why you move on from Reddick. One reason. Travis and Taylor Swift were on the field making out after the trophy ceremony. It was borderline rated R. There you go. Puppy love, mister. We've all been there. The puppy love. Sometimes you get a little out of control. Chief can replace half their free agents with guys from the custodial staff and hospital stand. Probably. It's coaching. Fletch will be back after that Debo tweet, I hope. How well did the pizza shop do yesterday? Way better than expected. I did not prep enough stuff yesterday, but we made it through. Got everybody. Minimal mistakes, minimal problems. What do we got here next? The Chiefs have many high-end free agents that's available. Snead and Jones. Snead's going to be the name that everybody wants in Midnight Green, for sure. You got to figure out what to do with James Bradbury still, but yeah, Snead's a name that you got to go get. All right, Phil, head into my first page. Have a good one, my man. We'll talk later. Annie was the perfect comparison. Bravo, I agree. Trying to fire through some of these comments to get caught up. On the other hand, I've been planning for the OT scenario, and defense tackle said, yeah, they have planned. Usher was there to excite the middle-aged Swifties. Yes. I think Usher was picked before Swiftie happened, though, so I don't know about that. I'm talking way too much this morning. Usher is definitely not a rapper. Exactly. I don't put him in that category either. I don't know if anybody would. CBS was playing up that Swiftie moment. Big tough guys were all simping for a proposal. I just thought it would have been a perfectly scripted thing, whether it mattered or not. I wanted to say it. I really did. That I wanted to see, and I don't know. I didn't see who did it, but I wanted to see the Disney World caption come from them. Hey, Travis Kelce, you've just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do now? And he looks over at Tay and goes, we're going to Disney World. That would have been like Disney World stock would have, boom, taken off. I don't own any, but yeah. My wife asked me if I wanted to take her to an Usher concert. I laughed and said, sure, let me pre-order my roller skates. I would have said, here are the 2 tickets. Take a friend. I don't want to go. Her reply, forget it. Yeah. That was full dollar. Yeah, it was not 53 cents. It was dollar cent. Yeah, 60 cent. Yeah. Usher must be stopped. Keep him away from your wife. Yeah, for sure. It is targeting. Biden inflation march on. How are we feeling about Jason Kelce coming back? Yeah, I keep going back and forth on that one. Not sure how I feel about Kelce, whether he's going to come back or not. Um, I'm leaning towards he's not coming back. And there are reports. Now I'm drawing a blank. I was going to talk about it tomorrow. Didn't write his name down. Free agent guard. I think it was from the Ravens. It's going to be a big target, which means then that they're thinking about moving Steen over to center, so they might already know. How crazy is it that barbers are calling the zero fade as the Kelce? Is that what that was? My wife was pointing out his hair looked off last night. It was a fade. Gotcha. Offseason officially begins today, and the Eagles are definitely have very important decisions to make. Bring back Reddick. Jose, I would love to bring back Reddick. And tomorrow's show is going to be, it's the offseason time. We're going to stick to the Eagles tomorrow, probably. Maybe some Sixers. We'll see how the Sixers game goes tonight. But it's time to get into this offseason talk. You can't see me. I can see you. Oh, man. I need a reset, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. These new overtime rules have been in place for 3-4 years now. No excuses. There shouldn't be excuses for that at all. Matt Mack, what's up? Let's try and get something going to get Slay and Bradbury out so we can keep Reddick. Yeah, I mean, odds are at least one of them will be back. They'll probably cut Bradbury post June 1st. Stretch that cap hit out of him for a few years. Slay was okay last year. I think you overrate how bad people overreact how bad he was last year. He's okay. He's making a lot. I don't know. I don't think you can cut both, but you got Ricks and Ringo, and you got Isaiah Rodgers and McPherson coming back. I'd prefer to keep Slay, cut Bradbury, maybe try to move on from Avonte Maddox, go out and get Janarius Sneed. That would be my ideal scenario for the secondary. Did not do the count on wings yet. I know I prepped 4 cases plus the change that was left over from Saturday night. I had about 450 prepped. And at like 5:30 in the middle of the rush, I was prepping more because I ran out. I just didn't think we were going to sell that many. We blew through wings last night. I wouldn't be surprised if we crossed the 600 wing mark, Adam. I probably won't count now till next year. You're late on the chat. Hollywood Strike was about the script rewrite. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm so far behind on the chat right now. I loved Romo talking about how Purdy should feel starting in the Super Bowl. I don't think Tony Romo had a bad night last night calling, honestly. You can't say anybody's a bust after 1 year. Everybody was saying the same thing about Brandon Graham, that he was a bust. Romo seemed to have found leverage in the dictionary. Phil was prepping the pizza staff the same way Kyle prepped the Niners for overtime. I did a much better job. Mahomes has 3 rings with Travis in 5 years. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. Nolan Smith looks like a bust to you now. You must have not seen him on draft night with those big ass glasses. I was like, I hope these are prescriptions. Oh, man. I'm eating pizza right now. It's good. It's 9 a.m. It's okay to eat pizza at 9 a.m. What concert costs 45 cents? 50 Cent and Nickelback. Oh, man. That was a cheesy joke, Mitch. Very cheesy joke. Yeah. Man, dude, Mitch is going to get killed for that one. Man, it's so bad. Hold on. We got to put it back up on the screen. Maybe I can come back. Screenshot this for later. Man, we're almost caught up. I think I'm caught up on comments. Mitchie Pooh's bad joke slowed the comment section down, which now put us at the part where we got 20 minutes left in the show and I'm caught up. I'm no longer a fan of Darius. I give up big plays, Slay. And yes, got to get rid of Maddox. He's no longer worth the roster spot. Too injury prone. I mean, how the Eagles manage their secondary this offseason and what they do with their secondary this offseason, it's going to be, in my opinion, one of, if not the biggest question or biggest stories of this offseason. Because you got Slay, Bradbury, and Maddox you can make cases to keep them all, and you can make cases to get rid of them all. You probably can't get rid of all of them though, because you're not going to be able to replace all three of them. So, and how much are you really all in on Ricks and Ringo? Are they really ready? Isaiah Rodgers sat an entire year. Technically, he hasn't been reinstated yet either. He most likely will, but he hasn't been. So, it's a really, really tough decision to make. And again, if I'm going to cut two of the three, I'm cutting Maddox and Bradbury and keeping Slay. That's my opinion. Yeah, Mitchie Poo has gone. He hit enter and he pulled a George Costanza and walked out. On the high end there. Little does he know, he broke the chat. Basically, instead, we got a cornerback back from suspension. His name's Isaiah Rodgers. Apparently, I think he's only. Well, he was when we traded for him, only 23, I think. So everything I read about him is that he's a high end, prospect. Like he's not fully even developed yet, but he's got the potential to be a superstar. Will he be? I don't know. I hate players that have to sit an entire year and then put a lot of pressure on him to come back the next year. Now he wasn't injured, so he's probably out there working out all season, but working out versus playing in game, there's difference there. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. But it's potential. So, but you got three guys, you can't get rid of all three of them. It's just not feasible. Only reason to keep Bradbury is because of dead money. Yeah. That's why you got to try. There was a rumor floating around yesterday, but it was proven to be a false rumor or a made up rumor that he's been given permission to seek a trade. But he probably will, even though it was a fake rumor, a made up rumor, he probably has been given. And he's probably been told, and just nobody cares because no one's going to trade for him. It's just a tough situation. The cap hit there. Isaiah Rodgers. That's right. Isaiah Rodgers has a lot of potential. Retro Bowl. It's like Tecmo Bowl meets Madden franchise mode. A fun time. I downloaded it. I turned it on for like 2 seconds on my phone, then forgot about it and never went back to it. But I know what that is. Linebackers, safeties, and corners are key to Vic's defensive scheme, so we have to make moves. Agreed. And you saw in the Super Bowl for both teams, the winners and the losers, great linebacker, safety, and cornerback play all over the field last night. You're going to have about $50 million in cap space. Depending on what they do with Bradbury, depending on what they do with Kevin Byard. The offense, you need to extend Dickerson and Smitty. But outside of that, and finding new running backs, which Howie does cheaply, a majority of that $50 million, ballpark $45 million that they're going to have, a majority of that is going to be into reshaping this defense. It's got to be. Plus draft picks and whatnot. Howie's got to see that. What my expectations is for him to continue to do what he does. Draft interior linemen, offensively or defensively, early in the draft. Wide receivers, tight ends, things like that in the draft. And then he's going to go into free agency and he's just going to pound the defensive side of free agency with big moves. That's my guess. That's my guess on what he does. Why are you thanking Drew? I answered the question before Drew did. Thank me. Don't thank him. I'm insulted. He is also known for kick returns too. Isaiah Rodgers, yes. It's a great time. Yeah. Superstar. Last time we traded for superstar potential, we got DGB. Oh man, I thought he was going to turn it. Everybody wants to expose my bad takes. Go find my DGB takes. Oh man, I was all over. What was it? We traded Dennis Kelly, I think, for him. Oh man, I was all over that. I thought he was going to be the next big wide receiver here. When are you ready to talk baseball? I want your take on Johan Rojas. Well, my quick take, because I don't want to take too much time on baseball today. I think I hear people saying he might start the season in AAA. I say if he even has an average spring training, he should start on this team. This offense is deep enough that you can take the chance on Rojas now and give him a month or two in that 9 hole. He solidifies center field. He makes Marsh be able to move to left field. I think as it is, unless there's a big move, I know there's names out there that Phillies fans still want us to sign. If you don't bring in any other names, I want Rojas starting day one in your 9 hole in center field. Great defense, speed, He's put the work in. Let's see it. Let's see it come to fruition. Every player on your offense for the Phillies can't be a big, high-priced free agent. You got to develop a young guy eventually. Give Rojas that chance. I think he'd surprise some people. And if he gets on base enough, then you got Schwarber in the leadoff spot. Because I still firmly believe, I don't agree with it, but he will be the leadoff hitter day one. Howie did okay last year being cheap on the running back position. He absolutely did. And he's going to do it again this year. You look at last night's game, you had Pacheco, a late round draft pick, cheap contract, and Christian McCaffrey, one of the highest paid football players, period. Both didn't have great games. Well, McCaffrey had a good game, obviously, but he had the big fumble. And Pacheco, he was good. So you can go either way. It just proves that you don't need to spend big. And what Howie did is the way of the league. And, yeah. The only thing I wanted was I wanted the 49ers to win only one reason. So McCaffrey could have been the MVP, which he wasn't going to get anyway. But then I could come on their show and talk about that you can pay running backs and see it wins you a Super Bowl with the MVP. But that scenario didn't play out. I was really hoping that was a narrative that we could talk about. DB, LB, Edge. That in that order, K1. Because I mean, as a fan, I want LB to be the first priority, but defensive backs probably are. Because they were really bad too. Anybody what college football and know some good running back to keep an eye out for? I don't know the answer to that one. Shanahan does some things really well, and he's unforgivably bad at others. Jimmy Kempski. Jimmy Kempski was on fire last night on Twitter, actually. That it didn't cost him the game, but he made a fumble in a big moment. It's just nice to see. I woke up so refreshed knowing Debo was crying like a baby on the sideline. And is there anything that can make is there any other, aspect of life when somebody's crying after a disappointment that we just laugh so much like we do on football when the 49ers lose, when Debo's crying? I think Debo's the only person that could cry and will actually make fun of him. And nobody will think twice of it. You aren't winning shit when your fourth receiver plays exclusively on special teams, has more catches in the Super Bowl than Debo. Debo Samuel had 11 targets last night. I know he pulled his hammy a little bit, but he was out there playing 11 targets. He caught 3 passes for 33 yards. That is not good. Swift coming back since the running back selection is slim with a high. I don't see it. I would love it to happen. I would love to see what Kellen Moore is capable of with DeAndre Swift as his running back. But if Miles Sanders got 4 years, $26 million last year, and Howie wasn't willing to match that, Swift's going to be worth that. Is Howie going to give DeAndre Swift 4 for 26? I doubt it. There will be a team that gives DeAndre Swift 4 years and $26 million. There will be. It's up to Howie to see whether he's going to do it or not. That blocked extra point cost him the game. Very possible. Very possible. We need linebacker, but we never prioritize them. And I'm still a N'Kobe truther. Look, that's a big part of the offseason. Just like Isaiah Rodgers, not knowing what you're going to get there. There's a whole bunch of players that had high hopes on them this year that didn't live up to those expectations. N'Kobe Dean's one of them. You can't legitimate backup plan if N'Kobe Dean isn't the truth. I wanted him to be the truth. I remember pounding the table day one of training camp that he already had the green dot. I was like, yes, that's what we need. That's what we want. But he was okay. He wasn't great when he was healthy. And then he wasn't healthy. Can't help the club from the tub. Trotter Jr. is drafted first round. See, that's the thing that's weird to me, Mark. And I don't know college football like the rest. We'll start bringing on some draft experts over the next couple of weeks to talk this stuff. But I see Trotter going in the first round. I see him going in the third round and everywhere in between. Like, what's his real value? Are we overvaluing him? There's better linebackers than Trotter Jr. I'm reading. But we just love the name. And if it's just the name, do we really want to waste a first-round pick on him? Howie won't do that. Now, if he's there in the third round, maybe. But I highly doubt Howie wastes a first-round pick on a linebacker. The Bang Bang No Ring Gang. That would be Kyle Shanahan's crew. Isn't even a second round. See, that's the thing. And K1, that's what you say? That's what I thought. But then I see other people, these mock draft experts, say he's a first round. I don't know what to think about Trotter Jr. because I don't know what he is. Because It changes, and he's a tackling machine. But see, the thing is, excuse me again, isn't Trotter Jr. just as small as Nakobe Dean? I thought I read somewhere he was like 5'11" or 6 foot only. Like he's not like a big guy. We already say Nakobe Dean might be too small. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm torn on that. But I find it hard to imagine that Howie Roseman would even remotely consider a linebacker in the first round. Now, there's a slight chance. Howie Roseman's MO is offensive line, defensive line, or wide receiver in the first round. And you know what? Technically speaking, we need all three of those positions. So you might see one of those. The only other position that I could see him break from his norm with in the first round is punter. No, I'm just kidding. Is cornerback. Now, if somebody like Kool-Aid McKinstry falls, which I doubt he does, to 22, maybe Howie goes first round cornerback. But outside of that, he is going to draft an offensive lineman if he doesn't sign one in free agency. He's going to draft a defensive lineman, whether interior or edge rusher. He's going to do that. Or he's going to go get a third wide receiver because with Kellen Moore, we need an upgrade over Quez Watkins. It's just what it is. So outside a cornerback, it's going to be those three positions. Debo's phone just vibrates because he has no ring. I like it. I like it. I like it. Oh, man, I got to write that down. 121-41. I'm going to try. I know I have no free time today, but if I have time, I'm going to screenshot that, put that out there. Trotter Jr., 6 foot tall and 220. It's not very big for a linebacker in the NFL. Kool-Aid McKinstry or another cornerback has to be the guy. Depends on how he plans on spending his free. Like if you draft McKinstry, you're not going to go out and get Snead. You're not going to spend big money on cornerback in the free agency. So I don't know. That's the only way he deviates from the other three positions in the first round. The only way. I live in Savannah, Georgia. Being at Clemson, he's the talk of the town, and I got to see a bunch of games. He doesn't miss tackles. Yes, he's average height, but strong as an ox. Not many times people broke his tackle. That's great on the ground boots reporting there from Matt Mack on Trotter Jr. Look, that's great. I'm not expecting him to be a first round pick. Whether he is or not, it's a mixed opinion, but I just don't see the Eagles, Howie Roseman, drafting him in the first round. It would be great. If he's really worth a first round pick, sure, it'd be great. I'd love to see it. There's other guys might be better in that position. But I'd be shocked. Like, utterly shocked. I don't know. Mitchie Poo broke the chat, though. Mitchie Poo had a running high after his joke. It was so bad. Mitchie Poo literally ran away after his joke. I don't want Trotter. I want big physical linebacker, another mutant to pair with Davis and Carter and some speedy cornerback. Yeah, and there's free agent. I haven't really looked at free agency, and I won't have time today to do it. We're going to talk Eagles tomorrow a lot more as we get to the final 5 minutes of this show. Obviously, the Eagles are off season now. So I won't know every free agent detail to go into. But you're going to draft. You have two big needs: cornerback and linebacker. You're going to draft one high, and you're going to invest heavily in another one in free agency. Which way Howie goes, I don't know. There's a lot of holes on this team. Is Kool-Aid McKinstry's not ready to start now? I wouldn't know that. Biggest downside of going to the big show is eventually you lose good players and coaches, but it sure didn't face the Chiefs. Go figure. It's a great point, Jose. The one thing about both those teams, it doesn't sound like the 49ers or the Chiefs are going to be losing. Obviously, their coaches aren't leaving, but their coordinators are probably staying pat too. So those teams will at least have that stability there. He will not. He hasn't drafted another Jalen Reagor in a long time. He's moved on from the Jalen Reagor draft was his last real bad draft. Just saying. He has evolved massively since the Jalen Reagor era. Ayuk dusted the coverage in that goal line throw where Chris Jones ran free to get Purdy. Brandon Ayuk's a really great wide receiver. He really is. Guy that's been in Debo's shadow and never gets the credit. But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Ayuk have more yards or catches than Debo this year. I know Debo was hurt for a few weeks there, but Brandon Ayuk doesn't get talked about. But Brandon Ayuk isn't a he's not in a he. So the Eagles have Brown and Smitty, a 1A and a 1B. It's clearly Debo's their 1 and Ayuk's their 2, not a 1B. But Ayuk is a lot closer to 1B than people give him credit for. In the right situation, on the right team, in the right scenario, Brandon Ayuk would put up some numbers. And he put up good numbers this year, like really good numbers. How many? I got to think about what Hassan Reddick. Somebody will have to do the research for me because I know I won't have time tonight to do it before tomorrow. 300 pizzas are going to take up my time, but I'm going to write it down. And if I do have time, value. I'm writing value next to Reddick's name. Somebody look up the last time a top tier defensive end got traded, and what was the trade package? I don't know. I'm not sure what it would be. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought so too. Catch and he stole Nick Foles' legendary, record, being the only person to throw and catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Jennings now has to put his name next to Nick Foles. How dare he? I will not give any Niners player any kind of love that goes for Ayuk as well. I'm a realist. I like to give credit where credit's due, my man. It's what I do. Not sure you will get much for Hassan because they will have to pay him. Exactly. You're not going to get like a first-round pick for Hassan Reddick because the team is taking him on to extend him to a massive deal. But there still has to be something brought back. Like, can you get a third-round pick for Hassan Reddick? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Niners fans on Twitter really out here pulling clips on holds that should have been called against the Chiefs. Yeah, I love it. They all crushed us for making those excuses, but here they are making the same excuses. Yeah, third round for sure. Yeah, I don't think you'd get much more than a third rounder for Hassan Reddick. But honestly, if you're going to not be able to pay him, you kind of got to take it. Maybe you get a third rounder and a player, like a guy with potential. I don't know. But if Hassan Reddick is considered in league circles how we consider him, there is going to be a market. So I don't think, like some people might say, oh, you might not get a third, you might get a fourth or a fifth. No, you should be able to get a third for him. Niners fans, yeah, I love it. I love it. Brock Purdy showed last night that he's just a system quarterback. Yeah. I mean, got to give him credit. He got there. He's a game manager. He's a better version of Jimmy Garoppolo, basically. Don't tell me the Chiefs don't hold. NFL should just allow holding to a certain point because that is what it is. Fred Warner gets, yeah, that's for sure. All right, guys, we got to start the wrap up process. It's time to go make 300 pizzas. For Wackberry, perhaps a fifth. You ain't getting no fifth from James Bradbury. You either got to cut James Bradbury or maybe hope for a conditional 7th-round pick. And that is not sarcasm, Drew. Like, if you got a 7th-round pick offered to you for James Bradbury right now, you take it. You take it. No way. Bring Bang Bang Niner Gang. Lost. Yep, guys. 12 likes still. Yeah, dude, that's so disappointing. We had some really good viewership today, too. Disappointing on the likes, guys. But make sure if you're watching this still, hit that like button wherever you're watching. Likes. There's 7 likes on Facebook and only 12 on YouTube. Disappointing, guys. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Guys, we got to wrap it up for the day. Can't change that. Think Khalil Mack could trade to the Chargers? Yeah, he's been traded a few times. I'll have to look at all those. I can only like it one time. I know. True Charlie Hoffman production. Oh my God, guys! Everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll get more into this Eagles offseason, what they got to do, what they should do. We'll talk more Sixers tomorrow as well. Everybody have a great day. Pray for my body that it makes it through 300 pizzas here. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for your support, the pizza shop as well. Everybody have a great day. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I am Phil Stiefel. We'll be back tomorrow, guys. Go Birds.